Xbox has announced three numbers that cut through nearly every dramatic headline surrounding its new advertising test. 1 hour is the confirmed session limit, 0 advertisements are supposed to interrupt gameplay, and only select games already owned by the player qualify. Those facts make this neither free Xbox gaming nor commercials suddenly appearing over a boss fight. Instead, Microsoft is testing whether advertising can lower cloud access costs without damaging the creative experience that gives gaming value. Today's comparison is therefore simple: player-first design and artistic freedom versus the corporate need to fund expensive infrastructure. By the end, we will decide whether this is a fair survival strategy or the first stage of a worse Xbox business model. On July 23, 2026, Microsoft launched the limited test for eligible members of the Xbox Insider program. Participants need an Xbox account, a supported device, a supported region, and a compatible game inside their existing library. Nothing in the official announcement gives anyone a free title or permanent ownership of new content. Rather, Xbox lends remote computing power so customers can play something they previously purchased. Basically, you bought the meal, and Microsoft offers the fork after a sponsor finishes speaking. Before we examine the missing limits and wider policy, like this video and subscribe for gaming breakdowns that separate confirmed facts from profitable panic. Crucially, the word select destroys the claim that every owned Xbox game works through this service. Compatibility remains controlled by Microsoft, meaning a large digital library does not guarantee equal cloud access. Likewise, the experiment is temporary, and Xbox has not promised a permanent public launch under these exact conditions. That uncertainty matters because companies often begin with friendly rules before studying which restrictions customers will accept. However, uncertainty is not proof, so the roast must target the program Microsoft announced rather than an imaginary version built for thumbnails. Officially, advertisements play before each session, while Xbox says the core game experience remains unchanged after streaming begins. Therefore, no confirmed commercial interrupts a race, covers a crosshair, blocks dialogue, or crashes through a multiplayer match. Anyone claiming ads are already appearing inside Xbox gameplay is either confused or decorating the truth for engagement. Somehow, Microsoft deserves modest applause for clearing the lowest advertising standard: do not place the promotion over the actual game. Congratulations, Xbox. Television discovered pre-roll advertising decades ago, but at least your version does not sell pizza during a headshot. Every free session carries a 1-hour cap, and that timer creates the first practical problem. Publicly, Microsoft has not explained whether players can immediately begin another session after the hour expires. Similarly, the announcement does not reveal daily, weekly, or monthly usage limits for this public test. Earlier internal testing reportedly involved around 2 minutes of advertisements and roughly 5 free hours each month. Importantly, those older conditions are absent from the July 23 announcement, so presenting them as current public specifications would be false. Until Xbox publishes clearer details, advertisement length and total monthly access remain unconfirmed. Imagine starting a role-playing mission while an old wizard explains why 12 stolen mushrooms destroyed his family's honor. Suddenly, the tragic speech competes with a timer that has 53 minutes left and absolutely no respect for narrative pacing. Meanwhile, online players will naturally ask what happens when the session approaches its limit during a match. Although Microsoft promises that ads will not interrupt gameplay, it has not explained how an expiring connection behaves. Critically, this route is optional and does not replace the existing ways people play Xbox games. Downloaded copies still run locally, ordinary console gaming remains available, and paid cloud streaming continues through Game Pass. Current Essential, Premium, and Ultimate plans advertise unlimited cloud gaming, although quality, waiting times, catalogs, and other benefits vary. Paid subscribers therefore do not need this ad-supported route to keep using cloud features included with their memberships. Conveniently, Microsoft has built an inconvenience that also markets the solution to that inconvenience. Game Pass becomes the escape button, meaning one commercial may sell shampoo while the entire system quietly sells a subscription. Fairness requires acknowledging that cloud servers cost real money to buy, power, cool, secure, maintain, and replace. Advertising can fund access for people who cannot justify another recurring payment. Furthermore, Xbox One owners may use cloud streaming to play supported newer games without purchasing series hardware immediately. For someone choosing between no access and one pre-roll advertisement, the bargain may feel completely reasonable. Timing, however, makes Microsoft's affordability argument harder to hear without laughing. Effective August 1, Xbox console prices rise by $100 for 5-year 12GB models and $150 for 1TB models. Additionally, Microsoft is discontinuing the 2TB model while citing sharply higher memory and storage costs. Nevertheless, customers still face another expensive barrier regardless of who created it. First, the front door costs more. Then Microsoft points toward the cloud window and calls the route accessible. Cannot afford our console anymore. Excellent news. Your television can reach the game after hearing from today's sponsor. Console makers face production pressure, while streaming offers players another way to use weaker devices. Simultaneously, Microsoft benefits when customers move toward infrastructure it controls from purchase through session length. Here lies the real corporate survival argument. Servers need revenue, Game Pass needs growth, and expensive hardware limits audience expansion. Opposite that pressure stands the creative promise of gaming, where players expect immersion, freedom, and design choices built around enjoyment. Artistic creativity may sound unrelated because no commercial currently interrupts a developer's story, combat system, soundtrack, or visual design. Yet business models shape creative spaces long before an advertisement appears directly inside them. If success becomes measured through ad views, session restarts, engagement time, and subscription conversions, platform decisions may begin serving those measurements. Microsoft has not announced such changes, so this is a risk to watch rather than a fact to report. Beyond this trial, Xbox published 5 principles for what it calls ad-supported services across Xbox. According to Microsoft, advertisements should create value, avoid interrupting gameplay, meet content standards, remain clearly identified, and fit player expectations. Such promises sound responsible because no company launches a policy titled, "How we plan to irritate everyone gradually." More importantly, the phrase across Xbox is broader than one temporary cloud pre-roll experiment. Notably, this wording does not confirm commercials inside paid Game Pass sessions, downloaded titles, dashboards, loading screens, or gameplay. Currently, the confirmed product remains a limited insider test involving select owned games, pre-roll ads, and 1-hour sessions. Tomorrow, Xbox could keep the offer restrained, improve it, reduce the library, lengthen commercials, introduce queues, or add monthly restrictions. Watch those changes carefully because the final business model matters more than the polite opening experiment. Historically, Xbox did not invent this model or arrive especially early. Nvidia's GeForce Now already offers free cloud access with advertisements and 1-hour gaming sessions. Free users receive up to 1080p resolution at 60 frames per second and no priority access to the queue. Essentially, Microsoft examined an established cloud formula, changed the logo to green, and announced a test. Innovation has left the building, but the advertising department remembered its security badge. Logically, 1-hour limits stop non-paying users from occupying expensive remote machines indefinitely. Corporately, shorter sessions spread capacity, create repeated advertising opportunities, and encourage heavier users to purchase subscriptions. Conversely, players receive less convenience, longer waiting, and another paid route around artificial friction. Executives may define value as broader reach, advertising income, and Game Pass conversions. Players define value as affordable access without collapsing quality, artistic compromise, or multiplying restrictions. Community reaction is predictably divided because different households face different costs. Some people see a useful backup for travel, older hardware, or occasional gaming without another monthly charge. Others see the first acceptable dose of a system that may gradually spread advertising closer to paid products. Would pre-roll ads remain tolerable if free users faced long queues, weak resolution, or a tiny supported library? Could advertisement blocks grow once players depend on the service? Might a cheaper ad-supported Game Pass appear while the current ad-free price moves upward? Right now, Game Pass subscribers are not being forced into this experiment. Existing discs and downloaded games have not stopped working because Microsoft launched a cloud test. No official evidence shows ads interrupting active gameplay. Moreover, Xbox has not guaranteed that every title inside a customer's library can be streamed. Critics presenting those claims as confirmed are roasting a fictional product because the real version requires more careful work. Ownership remains the deeper issue beneath the jokes. Buyers may possess a digital license, but cloud access depends on Microsoft supporting the game, region, servers, devices, and policy. Local hardware gives customers more direct control, while streaming exchanges some control for flexibility. Accordingly, cheaper entry can coexist with weaker independence. You gain the ability to play on equipment you already own, yet every session passes through rules that can change without your permission. Accepting that bargain is not automatically foolish, but players should understand it before convenience becomes the only practical option. Creatively, Xbox promises worlds where players choose paths, build characters, explore stories, and forget the surrounding machinery. Financially, Microsoft must keep the machinery profitable enough to justify servers, engineering, licensing, and global expansion. This versus structure defines the test better than lazy claims about commercials invading high-low. Creative freedom still asks whether access methods protect immersion and let games remain the main event. Corporate survival asks who ultimately pays when users reject hardware prices and recurring subscriptions. Commercials supply one answer, but every answer creates incentives that can influence tomorrow's design. Ultimately, Xbox has not created an advertising disaster yet. It has built an optional service that may help budget-conscious players while testing whether attention can finance wider cloud adoption. Reasonably, one pre-roll for one free hour could be fair, depending on advertisement length, queues quality, and game availability. Cynically, Microsoft created a waiting room and conveniently sells the fast pass. Together, those conclusions explain why this program deserves scrutiny without fake outrage. So here is the definitive answer promised at the beginning. As announced, this is a limited and potentially useful free option, not proof that Xbox inserted advertising into games. Significantly, the broader across Xbox policy shows Microsoft views advertising as more than an accidental experiment. Artistically, the danger begins only if revenue measurements start shaping access, pacing, discovery, or game design. Commercially, the model succeeds if it funds cloud growth without degrading the experience people came to enjoy. Fundamentally, the test is not the scandal. The conflict between creative freedom and corporate survival is the story. Finally, would you watch an advertisement to stream a game you already own? Or refuse because ownership should not require renting your attention back to Microsoft?